What's going on, YouTube? I am Prepper Princess, the author of Living on Almost Nothing. If you are interested in purchasing my book, I will go ahead and leave a link down in the description box below. I could not sleep today. It is 5:33 in the morning. I don't know if you can even see that. It's 5:33 in the morning. Got my bath. Feel nice and good. Time to go. I got too much sleep or not. I don't know. I couldn't sleep. So today I want to talk to you about something that I don't think I've ever gone over. What does it feel like getting out of debt, and I guess afterwards? So my guess is that a lot of people don't get out of debt because they are more comfortable with the discomfort of debt than they are thinking about the discomfort of what it's like to get out of debt. Because I followed the Dave Ramsey method, but I didn't know it was the Dave Ramsey method until I was about 6 months through it. Back in my early 20s, I had $42,000 worth of debt, which in today's dollars would be about $80,000 worth of debt. And the second I realized it, like the veins were popping out of my head. I was so angry at myself. I didn't blame anyone else. I was just so angry. My face was turning purple. And the next day I went out and got a second job. And then for the next year and a half, I worked from 6 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. and then 3:30 p.m. to midnight. 2 jobs. For the next year and a half, I worked 6 days a week. And then on the 7th day, if I couldn't find any work, I was at the labor ready, or I would go and collect cans and bottles from dumpsters for money. My weekend was a Wednesday because, of course, retail and call centers. So it was a regular day of the week. So I was able to go to labor ready and stuff like that. Anyway, so I went total gazelle intense. And there's a couple things like back then. Okay, for starters, let me say this. When you are accustomed to buying what you want when you want, to using shopping as a form of entertainment, you spend money like it's water. Like whenever you think of doing anything, like anything that involves fun, it requires money, like in your mind, right? And your credit card's just going up and up, and you're thinking, I don't really like my car that much. I want to get a new car, blah, blah, blah. And when you make that shift from living a typical lifestyle, a normal lifestyle, what by most people's means, and then most people don't go gazelle intense, but I do. I like to rip off the Band-Aid as quickly as possible and get it over with, but not everybody does that, but I did. That's how I did it. And what does that mean? So you can imagine it sucked. I'm going to be honest. It was not fun in the beginning. I felt so lacking, it felt so constrictive. Like for a good 3 or 4 months when you're getting used to it, it felt awful. It felt bad. It was not fun in the beginning. Now, let me just say that nowadays, with technology, it's been 20 years. Technology is a little bit different. So if I had to do it over again, it would actually be a lot easier at this point in time, just because of technology. So for instance, back then, you had one internet option, which was like $80 a month. And there was no streaming 20 years ago. So you had to have like a separate internet and cable bill. And cell phones, you didn't have things like Mint Mobile or Tello or US Cellular. You had AT&T, Sprint, Verizon. There's one other, T-Mobile. That's all you had. And they were like $90 a month. You didn't have those other options. So I didn't really have the option of finding lower cost options. So I just got rid of them. So cable, internet, cell phone, gone. Everything was gone. So I'm watching DVDs is pretty much the only option I've got. And that's when I learned about libraries, and I was renting DVDs from the library using my $400 DVD player that you can get now for $15. But back then they were expensive, and I was watching it on my big box CRT TV because that's what things were like 20 years ago. But things are different now. So, and lacking those things, not having those things, not having those options, it wasn't fun. I'm going to be honest with you. It was, not just constricting, but it was almost like I had like a scare in me, like, okay, I can't call into work because I have no way to call them because I have no cell phone. If I get stuck on the side of the road, I have no cell phone to call anybody, so I'm going to have to figure out how to flag somebody down or go to a call box or find a payphone. And even 20 years ago, payphones were tough. So there was a little bit of fear. And then going through it, my pants, I remember my pants, one of my jobs was working at Home Depot as a cashier. And you know how at the bottom of your pants where it goes towards your shoes, if they're too long, then they eventually rip. And then now I'm wearing high water pants. And I remember I was only about a year in and I was like, well, I can't buy new pants. So I was wearing high waters for like 6 months to a year of getting out of debt because it's not that I couldn't afford pants. I wasn't willing to pay for pants until after I got out of debt. The food. So before getting out of debt, I was like, okay, steak, or takeout, whatever it was, usually takeout, or steak or whatever I wanted to eat. While getting out of debt, it went from steak to fried potatoes, ramen, rice, lots of rice was added to it, and spaghetti. Like that, my diet had considerably gone down, and even so much to the point where I relied on company potlucks a lot for variety in my diet because I was spending so little on food. I literally spent nothing unless I absolutely had to. Back then, I didn't have any valuable items to sell. But if it were to happen again today, I have some items that I would sell and it would accumulate to a lot of money. Solar generators and e-bikes are the big thing, and I have a ton of them, but I would sell my washer, my dryer, probably my oven, my gas range. I would sell anything and everything I could. Everything in my guest room would be sold. I would be able to make probably $10 to $15 to $20,000 selling everything in my house. It would just, I would never get to that. But because I went through all of that pain and that suffering, I know what it's like. So I am even more driven not to go back into debt again. Now, if I were doing it over again, instead of getting rid of the cell phone, I would probably go with Tello. They have an option that's like $5 or $6 a month. It's like no data, just calling, no texting, and it's like emergency only. You only get like 100 minutes, and it's like $5 a month. That's what I would. That's what I would get. But I would still have cell phone for emergencies. I would be able to, I might be able to, I might end up cutting off my internet, but I would go to the library and rent out their hotspot. So I would have free internet at least 3 weeks out of the month, 3 out of 4 weeks in the month. I could do it for free with a hotspot. And then, you don't have to have cable anymore. You can have streaming. So I would be in a much better place now than I was then, if you understand what I'm saying. And then, while you're going through it, you're just like, God, this sucks. But because it sucks so bad, you are even more motivated to get it over with as quickly as possible. And one of the things that people ask a lot on my channel, I'm pretty sure they're just passers through because most of my regular subscribers are frugal people. You guys may have been in debt at one point and you know what it's like. Maybe you went through that really gazelle intense suffering in order to get out of debt. And it hurts. It's hard. But if you think about it, and people on my channel always comment, when are you going to treat yourself and all this other stuff? Well, let's put that into perspective real quick. When you go from a place where you have nothing, like you have no entertainment whatsoever. You are looking at, the only thing you're able to get is like 2 channels. They're both in Spanish and they're speckly, whatever that word is, where you get a really bad reception and you're like barely able to make things out and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden you have streaming service and you had no cell phone, but now you can call and text people. And then your entertainment changes from walking around the shopping mall and buying things to going hiking with your dogs, or playing frisbee with your friends, or having a potluck instead of going out to dinner. So your entertainment changes, but after going without for so long, and then you can go back to eating whatever food you want. You know, you can go back to having steak and mashed potatoes or takeout if you want. But after going without for a year and a half, these things, getting them back, like having them taken away, you know, and then getting them back. So now you can see it in the background. I've got TV, you know, I'm able to use my electricity whenever I feel like it. See the lights on in the background? If I were getting out of debt, those lights would not be on. I can take a shower every day if I want, a hot bath. I can use scrubbing bubbles. I can have a bubble bath every day if I feel like it. So having those things taken away and then being able to have them back, it really resets your mindset completely to things that other people, because they're in the normal consumer spending society, they consider things normal. Whereas somebody as myself can now, after going without for so long, I feel like it's luxury. I feel like having streaming service is luxurious to me. You know, being able to afford to paint my walls is a luxury to me. So, you know, when people talk about when are you going to splurge, I feel like I do splurge. I really do. I feel like I've got everything that I could possibly want, and I'm living, you know, I'm just living my life. This is just the way that I live at this point. I would rather go and play frisbee or basketball with a friend than go walking around a mall. It is so stale and shallow going to the mall. Like, well, malls aren't really a thing anymore, but nowadays, you know, you get deeper connections when you do something physical with a friend, like play frisbee or basketball or go for an e-bike ride or jump in the river. You know, things like that really do make deeper relationships than walking around in a mall or sitting in a coffee shop and just drinking $8 coffee. So that is what my take is on the mindset of getting out of debt. Now, when you get out of debt and you're completely out of debt, what does that feel like? Okay. I have different emotions than other people. So in my not my early 20s, my late teens, I suffered horrifically from panic attacks. Really bad ones. My heart would start thumping like crazy. Like, you know how you're going up a roller coaster and you just go over that thing and you start going down and you get those butterflies in your stomach and your heart beats really fast, and people love that feeling. Well, it's great when you're on a roller coaster, but if you're just standing around, it's really scary and, you know, it's not fun. So in my late teens, early 20s, I had to learn how to control my excitement. Because also I would get nauseous and throw up. So so I had to learn how to control my excitement and control my adrenaline. So I now longer don't really have that adrenaline factor like most people do. So when I got out of debt, it took that, I had that 1 second of, I felt like I won the Olympics. Like, yeah, USA all the way. Like, it felt really great. But then I had to calm myself down. It was like, okay, I'm out of debt. Now what? So, you know, you reach one goal and then you set a new one for yourself. So I just set new goals for myself constantly, always constantly setting new goals. And once you get out of debt, you're going to do it too. All right, everybody, I hope that this video has been helpful, and I hope that it explains, you know, how it feels getting out of debt. Yes, it sucks. Going without sucks, but long term, not just getting out of debt is great, but long term, it actually resets your mindset so that now you're able to visualize and you're able to see what is really a necessity and what is really a luxury. Like, you know, a cell phone to me is luxury. TV at all is a luxury. Internet for me is a luxury. So you'll really start to see it. You'll start to see it, and you'll be like, what? And then once you've got all the money in the world where you can buy anything you want, you look at stuff and you don't want it anymore. Funny how that happens. All right, folks, do what you can with what you've got. Prepper Princess out. What you doing, Nala? Are you picking on your big brother? Are you picking on Rocky? You guys are so stinking cute. You guys are so stinking cute. You love your little sister, don't you, mister? You love your big brother, huh, Nala? So much love. So much love. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, bless you. Oh. Get her, Rocky. Get her, mister. She's getting you.